You guys hear me? You guys hear me? Just having a little issues here. Let me know in the comments if you guys hear me. I had to reboot this. Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Just somebody drop a comment. Let me know if you guys hear me loud and clear. All right, before I get started. Okay, we good. All right, we good. All right, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone that's here, man? Aaron, thank you for the donation. I was reading your comment. I didn't understand which event you were talking about here. Said I literally got sent home because some staff member said you had a cough. Not sure what event you're talking about. I hope you're not talking about the fight, Breeders fight, because I think you sent me pictures of while you was out there. But just let me know in the comments, and thank you for the donation, bro. What's up, everybody? First off, before we get started, I just want to give you a big thank you to all of you that sent me the birthday wishes. If you didn't know, my birthday was yesterday, and I spent pretty much the whole weekend celebrating. All right, so I haven't been dropping any content since the breakdowns for the fights this past weekend. Okay, but thank you for all of the birthday wishes. All right, I had a great weekend. I had an excellent weekend, and I'm going to continue celebrating this week as well. All right, but I will be dropping content. All right, this week. But yeah, I did do a breakdown. I did get the breakdown for the Derek Chisora fight, which we're going to speak on today. And I also I did a breakdown for the Magsayo Vargas fight. Right, and I did get to check out both fights. I did check out most of both fights live, but not the whole fight. I actually had to go back and watch both fights fully. All right, but thank you guys, man. Appreciate the support, man. If you are following me on the Instagram or you saw the birthday post I did, you would know. Had a great time this weekend, man. I'm gonna go away for a couple of days and just bring all of my equipment so I can do content, because I just need to get out of the city and get away from all this noise y'all hear from outside. All right, I don't live too far from Harlem Hospital, so that's not police cars, that's ambulances. So I don't want people thinking that it's cops and robbers out here. It's not that bad, but I don't live too far from Harlem Hospital, and that's why you get all the ambulances all day. All right. So let's start talking about this past weekend. We got some news and some upcoming fights, and I want to go through the weekend fights, right? Which I did today. I was able to get some time and go and watch these fights fully again. I watched the Derek Chisora and Pulev. I watched most of it. I think I started a fight at like round 4 over the weekend, and then Magsayo and Vargas, I didn't see it at all. I didn't even watch that fight until today. Luckily, Showtime posted it, the full fight, because I was trying to watch it, finding a link to it on YouTube or something, and I couldn't. And thank you, everybody in the comments. Thank you for the birthday wishes again. But yeah, I did watch the whole fight, and I watched the undercard fights as well, because I wanted to see Brandon Figueroa fight. And he was able to pick up a win. I saw Frank. I really was looking forward to the Frank Martin Jackson Marinez fight. That's the fight I really wanted to see on the undercard, because I think Jackson Marinez is good. We saw how he looked against Rolly Romero, right? So I wanted to see that fight, and I actually got to see Rashidi Ellis return as well. So I saw everything for the most part. I didn't watch most of the Derek Chisora undercard though. I only watched the Fabio Wardley fight, all right, where he got an easy stoppage. I mean, it wasn't really nobody real he fought. All right, but let's go through it. Let's start off with Magsayo against Vargas, though. Let's start there. All right. And it was a very good fight. It was very, very competitive, like I thought it was going to be. We knew that, in the breakdown, I had said that I knew that the early rounds with Magsayo, while he was fresh, strong, I knew he was going to be, you know, a little bit of a problem, but Ray Vargas over exceeded my expectations because he actually didn't move much at all. In fact, he came right at Mark Magsayo from jump. Like, he didn't run anywhere. You know, I mean, from the earliest rounds, I think I gave Mark Magsayo the first round. All right, because I think he landed a couple big right hands. But Ray, for the most part, except for the round where he got like knocked down, he was taking all of the punches from Mark, and Mark is a bigger puncher. You know what I'm saying? So Ray stood his ground, you know, and Mark was saying something like, I hope he doesn't run because Ray knows how to move really well. But Ray he stood right in front of him. I want to say throughout the entire fight, except maybe the last 30 seconds of the fight. You know, the last round, he moved a lot more, but that's probably because he felt like he had the fight in the bag already, which in my opinion, he did. I gave Mark Magsayo 4 rounds, plus he scored a knockdown. Um, I know it was a split decision win. I know one of the judges had it like 114 or 113 for Mark. I think there was a couple of swing rounds in there. I think one swing round I gave to Mark and one swing round I gave to Ray. And I think that might have been the first 2 rounds for me. All right. I think the first round gave to Mark, which was a swing round, because Ray was digging to his body. And I said that in a breakdown. I said to y'all, Ray, and since I'm celebrating my birthday, I still got a drink. Yes, I have a drink in my hand. So I'm gonna have my drinks while I chat with y'all. But yeah, Ray started going to the body as early as the first round. And I said he has to commit and invest to the body early. He can't wait till later. You got to slow Mark down. Mark is very explosive, but we seen signs of him having issues with fatigue in the later half of his fights. Okay. We said that in the breakdown, and we seen it in the last couple fights. And Ray took advantage of that early. He was going to his body very early. After the second round, I started noticing a difference in Mark's body language. Like, he didn't like it. He wasn't as aggressive as he normally is in the earlier rounds of his fights. You know what I'm saying? So I peeped that really early. He was still fighting. He still landing a lot of big shots, and he also got some good shots in at the body. But Ray was all over his body. I mean, he was hooking to his body, left and right hooks all night long. Like, I knew from the early rounds, I was like, Mark is about to have a long night, man. He's gonna have a long night. Mark is still really good. Again, he landed some big shots, but as I was watching, and he was landing the big right hands, the big right overhand rights counters. It's like, yo, Ray would just keep coming forward. He would just keep coming forward. It's like, this is what happens when you really level up, because once we going into the fight knowing that you're the bigger puncher, right? We know you're the bigger puncher. But what happens when your power doesn't phase your opponent? Now you got to actually outbox him, and you got to actually outwork him. And we knew before the fight started, Ray is a higher volume puncher. Plus, he has a jab. He has the better jab. He makes use of his jab, you know? So I think Mark Magsayo, because his athleticism, I think he needs to work on some things. I don't know if Freddie is going to be able to do it. I think he's with Freddie because of Pacquiao and everything like that. And Freddie is a legend. I'm not trying to take anything from him, but I think not solely just because of this loss, because I might have told you this before the fight. I haven't seen any improvement in Mark. And it might have taken this loss for him to realize that there's certain things that he really needs to work on. Because I think as far as his ability, he might be the best guy, or he could be, or has potential to be the best fighter at 126. But he has flaws that I haven't seen him really work on yet, and he needs to work on these flaws before he move forward. He got to work on these flaws. Whatever flaws I was saying 2 fights ago, he still has those same flaws. And I think he can fix some of these flaws, but he might have to go to a different trainer. Now that he's taken an L, maybe now he'll realize, like, all right, something needs to change. Again, Freddie is a legend, but sometimes other coaches, the chemistry is just better. Shout out to everyone that's joining us. Make sure you hit that like button. All right, but look, Ray Vargas is now the champ. He's a champ at 126. There's plenty of fights that could be made. Everybody still wants Leo Santa Cruz, still holds a belt there. I don't know what's up with Gary Russell. I don't know if he's going to be coming back from his injury. I know he had surgery already on his shoulder. I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm sure he'll be back in the ring soon. You still got still a lot of people on 126. There's still a lot of fights to be made. Let's run down 126 real quick and see who are the current champs there. Who are the current champs? Why is this not working? Go to BoxRec real quick. Yeah, you got Emmanuel. Listen, I would love to see a fight between Emmanuel Navarrete and Ray Vargas. I would love to see it. I would love that because I think they both have things that they can do. Oh, you still got Josh Warrington as a champion. Josh Warrington is there. Leo Santa Cruz. You got him there. You got Robesi Ramirez, who just picked up a big win against Nova. There's so many fights that could be made at 126 right now. And I love it. Let's get some unification because we haven't gotten any unification at 126 in years. How long has this been? The whole last group of fighters that's been there, they only picked up one belt, moved up or moved back down. All right. So yeah, there's plenty of work that needs to be done at 126. Yeah, I see your comment, Aaron. Ioka and Nietes is gonna have their rematch. Okay. It's gonna be early, at least for us, it's gonna be early Wednesday morning because it's gonna be a Japanese fight. So it's gonna be like the last couple that I covered here on the channel. All right. Recently I covered the Breeders fight, and not a few weeks ago I covered the monster fight, the Inoue fight. Okay, that fight is gonna be in the morning. I don't think I'm covering this fight. All right, I don't think so. But if I can get up and the Wi-Fi is good where I'm at, because I won't be here, I'll jump on if I can. All right. But yeah, I'm not doing a breakdown because I just didn't have time to go back and study what they've done since their first fight. Donnie won the first fight. It was a very close fight. It was a split decision. I personally think Ioka's gonna take it this time because Ioka's done more since then. He had some great wins since then. And Donnie is like 40 years old at this point. So I'm picking Ioka to win this rematch. Okay. I'm not gonna do a breakdown because I'm not gonna rewatch the first. I'm just not gonna have time by Wednesday to do it. And then I have to get into Ryan Garcia and put that video out because Ryan Garcia is fighting Javier Fortuna this weekend. And I'm probably going to do live commentary for that fight. Okay, that fight is going to be on the Zone this Saturday night. But as far as Ioka and Nietes, I'll let you guys know if I can jump on and do a live. If I can, I will. I know I try to cover these fights that's like early in the morning, or that's not getting a lot of play here in America because it's not getting a lot of play. So I try to do these fights where it's not big here. You know what I'm saying? So I will try to get on. I will try to get on Wednesday morning. But if you're here in the States, Eastern side, it would be the ring walkouts would be around 7 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Eastern. All right. So I'll let you guys know. All right. So look, let's talk about the other fights. Rashidi Ellis, he's returned for the journeyman, stopped him really quick, stopped him like the first round. I saw it. He hasn't fought in a couple years. I've said this before, he finally got off Golden Boy. He's with the PBC now. He's a welterweight that should have been at least fighting he should have at least fought as a title for a title at this point. All right. But it's good to see him back. He still looks really, really fast. And that's all I could really say. We got one round of him in 2 years. And I know his opponent was a replacement, but his opponent originally wasn't a top tier guy neither. All right. But it was better than this guy. All right. So with that being said, just waiting to see what else he can do, because you know what? There's a lot of guys that came. He's coming off his best win against Alexis Rocha, but that was 2 years ago. Okay. There's a lot of guys that's come up since then. You got Conor Ben, you got Stanionis, of course, you got Boot, and you got Virgil Ortiz. There's other guys that's come up since then, and they cruised right past Rashidi Ellis as far as status. What I saw in Rashidi Ellis is that at least he's still fast, he's still sharp, he looks in great shape, he looked good. He looked like the guy I remember him being. But we need him to step up, because when you're not active like that, and I know a lot of it isn't his fault. He was with Golden Boy, and he just wasn't the priority over there for whatever reason. But since he's off and he's with PBC now, hopefully we can get him on more cards, because he has a lot of talent and he's already pushing 30. We don't want him to step up into a real, against a Boots or Virgil and not really build himself to get to that point. But at this point, he might have to take whatever challenge he can get right now. So if they put him in there with a beast right now, he's going to have to do it, because he doesn't have he's already burned a lot of time not using it. All right, Martin. Martin says, who do I think wins a fight between Gary Russell Jr. and Stephen Fulton, a clash of pure boxers? I'm gonna go with Fulton right now. Right now, I'll say Fulton. I'll say this too. I say maybe at Gary Russell's absolute peak, whenever year you want to make that, I still don't think Fulton's too far from that right now. Okay. But right now I'm gonna go with Fulton. He has the momentum. He's been active. He had an amazing 2021. He had one of the better performances of the year. All right. Gary right now, not active, injuries, layoffs, all of that. I'm going with Fulton. Good fight though. Good question. Good question. Yeah. So let's go down the line. Frank Martin, Jackson Marinez. Good win, good stoppage. All right. Frank did good. He boxed good. I gave him just about almost every round. All right. Fast, strong. All right. Southpaw. He's a good boxer. And he's getting close to that point to where he's going to actually start. He's at the point now where he's pretty close to a title shot. You know what I'm saying? He's contender level. He's not just prospect level no more. He's pushing into being a top contender. And there's a lot of good guys out there. I mean, look, 135 is deep. We talk about it all the time. Like 135 is crazy deep, right? We already know who the top dudes are. We know Tank. We know Haney. We know, Tiafimo and Lomachenko. We know all of that, right? But to be honest, there's a lot of guys. Like, I'm trying to go down this list here. I just pulled it up. All right. Zar Abdullayev would be a good opponent. All right. Zar just beat Jorge Lanarvis, stopped him. All right, and he was, he was down in that fight. All right, so Abdullayev would be a good win. Abdullayev was stopped by Haney. That would be a good fight for Frank Martin. I don't know about Nakatani. I think that's another tough one. But if he wants to, I think those are the fights you want to get. Because I know he wants Tank. I was watching a video of him doing an interview. He had just had a sparring section with Tank. So Frank looks good, man. He looks good. And against a guy that many of us believe beat Rolly Romero not too long ago. All right, so if you could do that against Jackson, you could stop him. I know Jackson was stopped by Comey, but we know that Comey is a monster puncher. So Comey stopping him is a great win for Comey, but we know that's what Comey do. He's not the best boxer, but he'll knock you out. Rolly struggled against the guy all fight. All right, but Frank Martin did excellent. Great win, great performance, and he looks ready. It's just that it's a crowded division, and I'm trying to find. I know there's so many processes. You got Jose Valenzuela. That kid is a beast. We saw what he did against Francisco Vargas in 1 round. Smoked him. Francisco Vargas, I mean, yes, he's older, he's past it, but just getting him out, a guy like that out in 1 round, crazy. What's the other kid at 135? The other prospect, the kid that looks like Muhammad Ali. I think he's Dominican. I can't think of his name right now. I can't remember. Let me know in the comments. The other prospect, young prospect that looks like Muhammad Ali, always wear his shorts. Can't think of his name right now. Let me know in the comments. But he's another one. He's another one of those top fighters that's on the come up right now. All right, that's on the come up, but that's top contender level. That's top contender level. Not no prospect. I mean, like a real contender, like that's really, really close to getting a top fight. Not Keyshawn Davis, Michelle Rivera. Yeah, thank you, Michelle Rivera. He's good too. And he's another one that's good. Valenzuela is good. I think Keyshawn, as good as he looks already, he's only like 4 or 5 fights in. You know what I'm saying? As a pro. All right. So I'm not putting him in the same position because even if you think he's better now, I still want to wait and see what he could do. Get some more fights in, at least get 10 fights, 12 fights in before we start like comparing them or talking about him having a fight with these guys. Valenzuela, this kid, Michelle Rivera, Frank Martin. I'm cool with all of them fighting each other. But most likely they're just going to keep moving them and pushing themselves closer. And they're probably going to have to fight each other at some point when it's going to be like a title eliminator type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, but Jose Valenzuela looks incredible. I mean, they all look good. But Jose Valenzuela looks, I don't know, man. Like, that's not a guy that I would pick. You know how these fighters like to pick who they want? No, a lot of fighters they'll fight certain people until they're like the number 1 ranked, the mandatory, then they have to fight them. That's gonna be that guy. Nobody's gonna be voluntary to fight that guy. Or you know what? They might not even be voluntary to fight Frank Martin. But Valenzuela looks like really dangerous right now. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, everyone. And definitely smash that like button if you can for me, man. Appreciate it. Shout out to everyone. So let's move down the list, man, because there's more fights. So let's talk Derek Chisora against Kubrat Pulev. I saw the fight. I saw most of it. It's a close fight. To be honest, I thought Pulev was more consistent round by round. I thought Derek landed the bigger shots, though. All right. I thought he was consistent with the body attacks. but I think Pulev was more consistent with his jab, right hands. But it's just like there was points, like even in the second half, where Chisora was kind of fighting with his back against the ropes. Pulev will be doing more work, but he wasn't hitting him with anything heavy. And then out of nowhere, Derek will hit him with like one or two big shots. That where I feel like, depending on how you're looking at the fight, he might have stole some rounds. All right. I thought there was too many swing rounds. When a fight is that messy, I see you, CMP. I'm not 46 years old or close to it. But thank you, bro. um, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, Derek, it was a very hard fight to score. And I felt like when it came down to it, and when it was about to score, you give us the scorecards. Derek never gets the nod when a fight is close. When he fought Joseph Parker in the first fight, when he fought Dillian White in the first fight, when he fought Tyson Fury, or no, what other fights he had recently? I can't. There's a good amount of them where it could have gone either way. He never really gets the nod. The reason why I picked Pulev by decision is just because of history. Derek has never looked better in a rematch. Okay. I felt like the opponents he's faced figured him out, knew what he was going to do, and they did better in the rematch. Whereas in this one, Pulev is older. He's 41 years old. All right. So didn't quite work out for him in the same way. Pulev looked older. Pulev was trying to do what he was doing in the first fight. And he tried to stand his ground and fight back, I thought because he looked pretty decent in the Jerry Forrest fight that he would do better, but I was wrong. Derek Chisora did enough to win, but it's a very debatable fight. And based on what I was seeing on social media, a lot of people felt that Pulev won. If they gave it to Pulev, it was a split decision win. If they gave it to Pulev, I mean, even though I was rooting for Del Boy, me rooting for someone and tell you who I think is going to win are two totally different things. I was rooting for Del Boy, but as far as I felt like Pulev was more consistent throughout the fight, because Chisora was fighting in spurts. And there were certain rounds where even though he landed the bigger shots, it was like 30 seconds of a round of fighting, whereas Pulev was just doing more throughout the round. But I do believe that Derek was landing the bigger shots. Like he landed some really big haymakers at that time in that fight. I knew Pulev did hurt Chisora, had him wobbled a little bit, but he didn't really capitalize on it like that. He went after Derek, and then he ended up getting caught with something heavy. All right. But I see that Derek, I love Derek, and I know he's not going to just retire. I think he's this guy that's going to just continue getting checks because he has such a large fan base, and I think I'm happy for him because he finally won against a once super elite heavyweight. At one point Pulev was an actual top 5 heavyweight. I know some of you may not believe that, but he was at some point. Obviously he's way past it. I mean, he was even past it when he fought Joshua, but he was still a little better at that point. But with all that being said, it is a good win. I'm happy for him. But he's gonna stick around. I know he called out Deontay Wilder. I don't think he has any chance of beating Wilder. But for Wilder, it's not a bad fight because Wilder would be coming back off 2 knockout losses to Tyson Fury. And I think he needs a tune-up if he is going to fight any of the top guys. I think he should use one. I don't think I can't see him going straight into a fight. I also always said this too, and I've been consistent with the channel. I said, whether, Joshua and Wilder should still fight each other. I don't feel like they have much to lose here at this point. If Joshua is to win or lose against Pulev, and if he is to win against, if Joshua is to win against Usyk in this rematch, obviously go for Fury. If you can't get Fury, go for Wilder. If you can't get Fury, go for Wilder. But I feel like even if he loses to Usyk, fight Wilder. You coming off of 2 losses, Wilder's coming off of 2 losses. You really don't have anything to lose here. You guys are going to make a shit ton of money anyway. Anybody's going to pick up that fight. You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like that fight should happen. There's no way that these fighters should both retire without actually facing each other. I think that's so ridiculous. Like, that's one of the biggest disappointments that can happen in heavyweight boxing today, or boxing in general, for those two to not fight and retire without fighting each other. And these fanboys, I'm so tired of fanboys just saying, well, Wilder lost to the best fighter in the world, and he's the second best fighter in the world. No, we know who the first best fighter in heavyweight division is. Okay? Fury beat Klitschko. Fury beat Wilder. But even him, if Usyk is to win again, it's just ridiculous how he wouldn't fight Usyk for all the belts. I know you've held all of the belts, but not simultaneously. Not at one time. For him to retire without fighting Usyk, if Usyk is to win, is ridiculous to me. Or not fighting Joshua if Joshua is to win, is ridiculous to me. You know, we need to get the best fights. And I feel like one half of fighters fought each other and the other half hasn't. You know, and I know Fury beat Klitschko after he reigned. He dethroned Klitschko. I know Joshua beat him later, but he's the one that beat him first. And I know he beat Wilder first, and that's great. But Usyk, especially if he is to beat Joshua again, Usyk is a fight that needs to happen. It needs to happen. Usyk is no pushover. He's a legend himself. In the same way with Joshua. Like, these fights need to happen. Now, if these fighters just don't have it in them no more and they don't want to fight, they don't have the love for it no more, they feel like they're done. Like, if Wilder decides like he's going to stay retired because he just doesn't care for it, then fine. But it's a hit on your legacy. It is a hit on your legacy. You know, that goes for all of them. I'm not just like targeting no one. It goes for all of them. Everything is a hit. Every loss is going to be a hit. But every fight that you could have done and you didn't take is a hit as well. So with Fury, if this guy just says, well, I'm retired, I'm just going to do the exhibitions for the rest of my career, knowing that there's another guy that's undefeated that has all the other belts, that's just ridiculous. It's just, nah, man, that's unacceptable in my opinion. And I would say the same for anybody else that was holding the titles, you know? All right, but Derek Chisora, a good win. And listen, he's always going to be a guy that anyone can fight. I don't want to see him fight anyone that he's faced before, though. Okay? I don't want to see a Parker 3. You know, I don't want to see a White 3. I don't want to see any of those fights. I kind of want to just him, if he's going to stick around and not retire. I think it's a good enough win to retire, but he's not going to retire. He wants too much money. Every time I hear him interview, he wants so much money. You know? Let me just pull up the I think Chisora beats everyone right under top tier. Right? That's my opinion. I don't think he beats Joe Joyce. All right. Joe Joyce is fought. I don't think he beats Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel beats him. All right. I think Daniel stops him. I don't think he beats Michael Hunter. All right. I think Martin Bacoli would be a good fight. Martin Bacoli just beat Tony Ioka. Dominated him. One of the biggest upsets. Or probably the biggest upset of the year so far That's the one that I said in my video. All right, I think that would be a good fight. That would be a pretty good one. I think that's a winnable fight for Del Boy. All right. I would still love to see a Luis Ortiz fight. I know Ortiz is going to fight Andy Ruiz. All right. But I think the winner, if Luis Ortiz wins that fight, I don't think he would fight Derek Chisora, but I don't know what would happen if Ortiz wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder came back and fought him. I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. Charles Martin is good. Yep, my man J-Man says Charles Martin is good. Frank Sanchez definitely beats Chisora. He toys with him for 12 rounds. Yeah. Yeah, Okoli is a cruiser. Yep. Now, I think Daniel Dubois would beat up Chisora right now. I think Otto Wallen would win a decision. All right. Robert Helenius would be a good fight. Did they fight already? Did Derek Chisora fight Robert? I felt like they did, but I don't think they did. Oh, they did. Oh, yeah. I remember watching that fight. I actually think Chisora won that fight. I don't know. It's been a long time since I see that fight. I don't want to say that because it's been a while. Yeah, that might be one of those ones that I think he might have got robbed, well, let me not say robbed, but it might have been a close fight that I think Del Boy won. So there's a lot of fights out here for him. Let me just say that. All right, but good win. Good win. Good win. Even if you don't think he won, um, I knew that if it was close, they would probably give it to Del Boy. It was in the UK and Pulev. I think it's better that he won for the heavyweight boxing because I think Chisora has much more to offer for future fights in heavyweights. Whereas Pulev, I just feel like I give him less of a chance to win against the top elite fighters or the guys right enough like below that because Pulev's style. I think his style at his age is just not as effective. Whereas Chisora, he's a little younger. He's still really rough and rugged. You know what I'm saying? I think that he's just tougher to deal with. I know you could definitely hurt him, and he was hurt in this fight. But I just think his style would just be a little bit too tough to deal with for anybody. I don't think anyone just beats him easily, I actually don't like the idea of Jared Anderson fighting Frank Sanchez. You know what it is about Frank? Frank is the type of guy that can slow down a fight. Frank is honestly like what you guys complain about of Devin Haney. Like he will just beat you and keep it in the same gear. You know what I'm saying? Frank is that guy that's gonna beat you, and it might not be entertaining as long as he wins. I don't think Jared Anderson, that's a good fight for him right now, especially a kid that's learning still, as good as he is. And I think he can beat some of these elite fighters already. I think Frank Sanchez is all wrong for him. I just think he's all wrong for him. I think Derek beats him too, but I think he gives him a tough fight, because of the pressure. But I think Jared Anderson some of his flaws might get exposed in that fight. All right. Win or lose. Really risky fight. I wouldn't make that fight. You saw what happened with Ajagba, and I know I think Frank, I think Jared Anderson is better than Ajagba. I would have said that even before Ajagba lost that fight, but Frank Sanchez, you got to put a guy that's going to stay on him. All right. You got to put him in there with someone that's going to really like take his power with no problem and know how to close the gap on him, make it rough, physical. Derek can do that, but Derek can be hurt in the process too. He could get caught with a sneaky shot and get hurt, but he can do it. I think Joyce can do it. There's a few fighters out there that can do it. All right, but Frank is going to be hard for anyone to beat, to be honest. I think Michael Hunter would give him a good fight. I think who else is out there? I think Daniel Dubois would get schooled. I mean, as powerful as he is, I think Frank is just too slick. Too slick. Too slick. Too slick. You know, too slick. J-Man asked me if any prediction on Leo Santa Cruz versus Ray Vargas. I would pick Ray Vargas. I already thought about that fight. I've thought about that fight in my head since this Mark Magsayo fight was even announced and doing breakdowns. I already thought about it. I think Ray would just do better with his jab. You know, his jab. I mean, Leo got a good jab too. But Ray and his height and his body, you know, punches. I know Leo was high volume, but Leo didn't look so good on his comeback fight. Wasn't really impressed with that. I think Ray proved like he's legit, man. At 126, Ray is gonna be very hard. I think me personally, I think right now my top two is Ray and Emmanuel Navarrete. I would say I would even put those two above Gary Russell right now. That's just my opinion. You know, I got those two. You know, no, Anderson got box really good, but what I'm saying with Frank is more experienced. You know, he's older. He got that Cuban amateur style. He's really slippery. You know, you got to really hunt him down. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that Jerry can't beat him. What I'm saying is that it's a really tricky, risky fight to take for him right now. You know, I like his chances against some of the other guys, in my opinion. I would just avoid Frank. But yo, if he were to take the chance, go for it, you know? I just can't see it happening. Shadow, thank you, man. I had a great day. I had a great weekend, man. It's been good. All right, so let's move on down the list. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia and Javier Fortuna a little bit. I'm gonna do a breakdown. All right. I haven't started doing any film study for the two yet, but I'm gonna do some probably tomorrow. Maybe even a little tonight. Maybe I'll get up and tonight, you know, Javier Fortuna is a southpaw, so I'm probably gonna watch the Luke Campbell fight with Ryan. All right. Javier Fortuna, I've been watching for a while. I mean, I think I have Ryan winning the fight. You know, I think he's just too powerful. I think he's too much. I think he's gonna stop Javier Fortuna. I think he's gonna get caught. But you never know, man, because when I saw Javier Fortuna fight against who did he fight recently? Oh, Jojo Diaz. Javier Fortuna doesn't look to be as wild as he used to be, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if you guys know. I don't know. You guys gotta let me know in the comments. Javier Fortuna looked to be too cautious in that fight for whatever reason. You know, and the Javier Fortuna that we seen against like Robert Easter back in the day, you know, seemed be a little bit more explosive. Let me pull him up real quick. I didn't like him in that fight. For whatever reason, he didn't take any risk. And I wasn't expecting that when he fought Jojo Diaz. Right. And I thought the fight was more competitive than what the scorecard said, though. Let me make that clear. I thought it was closer than that. But I don't know, man. Like, I didn't like that performance. He's 33 years old. Yeah, I liked him against Robert Easter. Who else? He lost to Jason Sosa, but I liked him in that fight. I thought he was winning against Jason Sosa. You know, I'm going back to some of his older fights now, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought I didn't like the scorecards of that Jojo Diaz fight. I'm like, man, when they said the scorecards, I was like, nah, that fight was pretty damn close to me. All right, but with that being said, I think Ryan is gonna get him. You know, I think I think Ryan, with all his flaws and everything, and yes, he's being pushed up a lot more slowly. Even with all the talking he's doing, he's getting pushed very slowly. He's getting developed. They understand that they're developing him. You know, this is right. He's not fighting the top elite fighters. The names are being thrown out there. You know, Tank, Haney, all these guys. The names are getting thrown out there, but they're not really trying to make a fight with those guys right now. You know, but with that being said, I still think that Ryan is experienced enough to win this fight against Fortuna. You know, I personally still feel that the Luke Campbell fight was just a little bit more above Javier Fortuna, just a little bit. You know, I seen when you guys said that Ryan's gonna get clipped. I mean, I think a lot of us have said that. You know, he did get touched by Luke. You know, Luke did catch him. Uh, but I think with all of this stuff, and I know I criticize him enough. I know a lot of us do. I still think that Ryan is pretty damn good. I don't think he's the best boxer, but I think his fast hands and his power makes up for it. You know, I really think he's kind of limited, but his power is real, you know. Igor, thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate the birthday wishes and everybody else. Thank you. Yeah, I got Ryan catching him at some point. I think Javier Fortuna is going to play it safe, but not as safe as Emmanuel to go did. He's still going to let his hands go. But it's gonna be like cat and mouse again. I expect it to be. I'm gonna do a breakdown. I'm gonna do some film study. I haven't done any film study, so I want to make sure I do that, you know, and give you a real thorough breakdown. But if the fight is this week, I think I'm going to do commentary. You know, unless something comes up, because you know, whenever it's my birthday, I celebrate for the entire week. I'm just letting you guys know now. So if I can't do it, it's probably because I got pulled to go somewhere. All right. So if I get pulled to go out this Saturday night, I might not cover it. But if not, I'll definitely be on here. I'm gonna try to be on here. I wanna cover a fight, man. I feel like I haven't covered a fight in a bit, you know, even though I did cover, well, I was up for Breedis. All right, but I want to cover a fight on a Saturday night. It's been a minute. So yeah, I want to do that. All right. So this fight is this weekend. It's gonna be on Saturday night on the zone. I think around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I'll get the times and everything right when I do the breakdown. But I want to start doing some film study either late tonight or early tomorrow. All right. Um Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is coming back, and he's gonna fight Omar Figueroa. And I kind of wanted to look up Omar Figueroa before I did this, because the last time I seen him, he was losing. I think he lost a couple of fights. All right. He's not doing too well. Okay, yeah, he lost to Abel Ramos, and then he lost to Dennis Ugas. And Ugas stopped. No, he didn't stop him. Ugas dropped him and then shut him out, won every round, and then Abel Ramos just destroyed him. All right, won every round and stopped them in 6. And to be honest, I don't even think he looked good against John Molina Jr. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that fight. Am I bugging? But I remember that decision being very controversial. Okay. Not only that, but he hasn't been that active. I'm looking on his resume right here. Dude, he went from fighting Antonio DeMarco, right? Went to fought him at 151 at a catch weight above, like, Antonio DeMarco should not be fighting above welterweight. That's crazy. But he fought Antonio DeMarco in 2015, right? Fought Ricky Burns in 2015 as well. Fought Guerrero in 2017, which he destroyed Guerrero. I mean, at that point, Guerrero was done. I remember watching that fight. He destroyed Guerrero in those few rounds. Went on to fight Molina Jr. 2 years after that. So he went from 2015 to 2019 having 2 fights. Right? I remember him struggling against if any of you guys remember that fight, let me know in the comments. I remember him struggling against John Molina Jr. It has it as a wide unanimous decision here, but I remember him is struggling in that fight, you know. And John Molina is this is 2019 John Molina. I mean, he's way past it. Igor, thank you for the donation. All right, thank you, appreciate you, bro. And then he fought Ugas, got whooped by him, and then got whooped by Abel Ramos 2 years after that. So Omar is just not active. He's just not active, man. But then when we look at Adrian Broner, we all know his story. All right, I mean, he's been more active than Omar Figueroa. But let's talk about all of the things that he's been involved with outside of the sport. You know, this guy's had mental breakdowns. It's been suicidal. You know, I don't know if he went bankrupt or anything, but I know he's had financial issues, relationship issues. All right. He's been through a lot. You know, I didn't see an Adrian Broner interview for a minute, and then I seen one. He had a bunch of gray hairs in his beard, you know? So Adrian Broner's been more active, of course, since 2015. He fought John Molina Jr. All right. Lost to Porter. He beat Akla Verdiev. I remember watching that. Beat Theo Payne 2016. Granados 2017. Mikey Garcia lost to him. Draw with Jesse. All right. Lost to Pacquiao in 2019. Then he had a layoff. See, before that, he at least fought once a year, which is cool. But he had a layoff from 2019 to 2021. Fought Santiago. And I don't think he won that fight. I think most of us agree he didn't win that fight. All right. And now he's coming back for Omar. Now, I see somebody here that I think this is a good fight, by the way. But I think this is a fight that is a must win. And I don't say that much on here because I always say that, you know, guys can continue on and going. And yes, they can very well continue on fighting, but this is a good fight. It's a good fight because I think Adrian Broner obviously had a higher ceiling, but he is fighting a pressure fighter. And even though Omar is not that good and he's not as durable, all right, being stopped in his last fight and being dropped in the fight before that, Omar is a high value puncher. And that is a problem with him, with Broner, because we know Broner doesn't let his hands go. Even on the best fights, even his best performances, the reason why he was losing rounds is because he was getting outworked. I mean, damn, the guy gave like 5 rounds away to Paulie Malignaggi from jump. We all remember that. Now, did he come back and win? Yes, absolutely. All right. But this is a must win for both. Omar's coming off of 2 losses. All right. 1 getting stopped, and he hasn't been active. He's fought very few fights in the past 7 years. Right? Not that many fights in the past 7 years. Past 7 years, how many fights he had? In 7 years, since 2015. He's since 2015, he's had 4 fights. That's not good. All right, but his style, I feel that is all wrong for Broner. But Omar's fell off. Or technically, in my opinion, he hasn't looked that good since he's moved up. I thought Omar was a lot better when he's at 135. At 135, he was a beast. But once he got up and a bigger weight, he didn't look that good. Same with Broner. Broner was his best at 135. Broner has not looked that good since he moved up. That's the truth. Broner should be fighting at 140. No question. So with that being said, I don't know who wins that because it's a pick 'em fight. with Broner, when I say it's a must win, I mean it's a must win as a point like, yo, if he is to win, I think he would be at least, his name would still be in the talks or something. But I don't know. We might be already past that because when he fought Santiago in his last fight, I remember they got poor ratings and not, he didn't look good. So people might be off the Broner train already completely. And I mean completely. I don't mean just like the hardcores. I mean completely. Like no one's talking about him. All right. So it might already be over. But if him taking another loss right now, especially to someone who needs a win as well, and he's desperate for a win, I don't know. Might be rough. I think Adrian Broner at least has a name. Even if he were to lose this fight, at least his name would get him an exhibition, because this is a lot of exhibition money floating around right now. All right, but I don't have much expectations from Broner at this point. David Benavidez, what do you want me to say about David Benavidez? What's going on with Manuel? What's going on with David Benavidez? I haven't heard anything about David. Is anything new? I like David Benavidez too. I don't know what you want me to talk about. You telling me to give him a shout out. I mean, I like him. I don't know what else you want me to say though. Aaron's dissing Benavidez. I talk about him all the time on this channel. His brother is fighting Danny Garcia though. Garcia is going up. I believe that's next weekend. Why they ducking him? He's good. That's all I like to say. He's a good fighter. He's good. He's tough. But like I said before in the past, you gotta take accountability. You gotta take accountability when it's due. And in this game, not everybody's gonna have the privilege, and not everybody's gonna have second chances. If you are on top and you have a belt, you got to do what you have to do to keep that belt. You losing a belt 2 times, it's part of your problem. That's your fault. Am I going to the JP fight? JP, who are we talking about? Who are we talking about, JP? Who are we talking about? I think David beats Charlo. I think David beats Charlo. If Charlo moves up to fight him at 168, I think David beats Charlo, and I think he beats Plant. I do believe that. All right. All right. We're moving on. Dimitri Bivol is going to be fighting Gilberto Ramirez. It was announced today that the WBA is ordered to fight. All right. I know we were talking about, I know a lot of people want undisputed, because Better BF holds 3 of the belts now, and Bivol owns 1 and recently beat Canelo Alvarez. I want undisputed, just like everybody, but you got to understand, Better BF and Smith already agreed to fight Anthony Yard. The winner is going to fight Anthony Yard. So that's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening. So Bivol is going to fight Gilberto Ramirez, and this fight has been talked about for a while. Zurdo has wanted this fight for a while, and at this point, it's not a bad fight at all. You're not going to get any complaints from me, even though I really, really, really want to see Bivol and Better BF fight each other. This is a very, very dangerous fight for Bivol. All right. And Bivol is obviously, I mean, it really could go either way. You got Bivol and you got the skills against Ramirez, who's the bigger guy, big puncher. Bivol has never been the biggest fighter at 175. He's fought bigger punchers or big punchers. He's fought bigger guys, but Zurdo is huge at 175. I mean, he's easily a cruiserweight. You know, I mean, the fact that he was fighting at 168 for most of his career is crazy to me still. All right. Zurdo and Bivol is gonna be tough. Zurdo packs a lot of power. He's big, he's very physical, and he knows how to pressure you. This is gonna be a tough fight for Bivol. This is not gonna be an easy fight. You know, Canelo tried to do it at times, didn't really work out for him because skills. When it comes to skills, there's weight classes for a division, for a reason, and that's when Canelo he reached his point. Like, okay, the show stops here. We know you beat Kovalev up here, but now you're fighting a fresh, undefeated, young, elite fighter up here. Different levels. Yes, Zurdo is a southpaw. Zurdo is huge, bro. That's going to be a tough fight, man. And Zurdo beat some good guys. He's beaten Jesse Hart twice. He's beaten Sullivan Barrera, just destroyed him. Again, he can be outboxed for sure, but he's big and he's better at 175, in my opinion. All right, he destroyed Nietes Gonzalez. He's picked up some decent wins. They're not great wins. Obviously, Bivol got a better resume, but it's all about the styles, man. When you fight a big guy like this, it's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. Ralph says, I think Bivol beats Zurdo easily. I hope so. I want Bivol. Bivol is still my favorite guy at 175. I hope so. And you know what? When it comes down to it, I'm probably gonna pick Bivol winning. I think when it comes down to it, I'm always gonna put skills over. And I haven't seen Bivol fold under pressure at all yet. From fighting punches like Joe Smith, Joe Smith fighting Canelo, fighting Pascal, who's very awkward and aggressive, powerful as well. I like Bivol, Bivol. Another thing with Bivol is he doesn't lose too many rounds. He doesn't lose too many rounds. So at the end, I'm probably going to still lean towards Bivol, But Zurdo is big. It's that size thing, That's the factor that's in. But again, we seen him fight Joe Smith and handle Joe Smith. Joe Smith brought a lot of pressure, a lot of power. He did get clipped a couple times in that fight. Bivol did. All right, but he took the power. He didn't go down. He hasn't gone down. Yeah, if that's where if Bivol from, yeah, he is. I guess. I don't know. I don't know who else is from there. No, Desert Storm Bradley. Oh, Bradley. Definitely got Bradley over Bivol. I love Tim Bradley. Big Tim Bradley fan. You know what? I'm gonna open this up, yo. If you guys want to join up, if anybody wants to join in and talk about any of the topics that we discussed tonight, I'll send the link in the comments. It's been a while since I had you guys jump in. Anyone wants to join up for a few? Pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover tonight. But yeah, I'm probably going to lean towards Bivol, but it's a tough fight. I'm not going to dismiss and act like it's not a tough fight. It is a very tough fight because Zurdo is very, very strong. He's a very big guy, very durable fighter. Good fight. All right. Danny Garcia gets going up to 154. I think it's just pretty much the same pattern we got from Danny since he's moved up from 140. He's fought an elite fighters at 147, and he had some good fights with like Thurman and Porter, very good fights, but just wasn't able to get the win. And listen, it's the same pattern. You take a loss or have a tough fight, and take an easier fight. And I know this is going to be at 154, but what has Jose Benavidez done? He just came back and picked up a win after being out the ring for what, like 2-3 years. He was one of Bud's first fights when he moved up, and he took the loss to Bud, and we haven't seen him since. And then he came back, had a draw. I didn't watch the fight, but I heard that Benavidez lost. A lot of people felt that he lost that fight. Didn't look good. Right? Yeah, he went 3 years without fighting. He fought Bud in 2018. Fought Bud at 2018, and fought Torres in 2021. Had a draw, and that fight was all the way at. Oh, they fought above 154. Okay, so I don't even know if he's fighting up in that weight because he's not in shape. That could be it. Who will Lomachenko fight in October? I really don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. If Haney is gonna fight Kambosos in a rematch, then he's gonna have to fight somebody else to fight. Find someone else. I don't know who. I'm pretty much cool with whatever. I do want to see him fight Haney though. I don't know who they're gonna get. I don't know if there's any names that's gonna be thrown around. If Haney is forced to fight, if he's gonna be forced to fight this guy again, Kambosos, maybe a Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz would be a good fight. I see Nakatilia is around. He fought at 130. He picked up a big win recently against Miguel Burchell. So maybe we can get that fight. Abdulayev is decent. All of those people that I just named for Frank Martin, they're all cool. He already beat Nakatani, so any of those guys are cool. Oh, what fights do I want? Oh, I would love Tank. I wanted him to fight Tank forever. When was his last fight, by the way? His last fight was against Nakatani or Kome. It's one or the other. Oh, he fought Kome last. That was in December, so it wasn't that long ago. I mean, we're in July, so it'll be almost a year since he was in the ring. Virgil Ortiz had an injury, so he'll be coming back to fight Michael McKenzie in school soon. I think they're already scheduled. All right, at least they agreed on the fight. I don't know if they're scheduled yet. Yeah. Igor said, I doubt he will fight in October because Haney and Kambosos is in October. They could still fight. If they fight around the same time, they'll be right in time to fight each other when they both fights are done. Yeah, Tank versus Loma is not going to happen. I don't even know if Tank and Haney will happen. I think if they build a fight up enough, it could happen. But when it comes to Tank and the PBC, he keeps it straight PBC unless there's enough money for it to make sense. If they can't do it, then they're not going to do it. Tank and Loma will fight in about 2 years when Loma's a shot fighter. I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of people were saying that before. I've heard that a lot. I mean, if it happens, it happens. If Loma is like legit shot and he loses to somebody else again, and like let's say he fights Haney out and Haney outpoints him and destroys him, or if he does that, then I mean, it's gonna know. Everybody's gonna know. Breeders and Jai was a great fight, Aaron. It was a great fight. It was definitely one of the better fights of the year for sure. Definitely one of the better one. Maybe a top 10 fight. It wasn't fight of the year, yo, but it's definitely a top 10. Top 10. It was a very good fight. I think they should rematch it. Ryan Garcia. I got Ryan Garcia getting a stoppage. You know, I'm gonna do a breakdown though. I haven't done any film, so I said this earlier. I haven't done any film study, but I'm gonna do I'll do one. I'll do one. If not tomorrow, but by Wednesday, I'll try to get the video out. I just haven't done any film study yet. Yeah. Um. I'm also gonna start doing film study on uh Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. Oh, Charles Edward Cheese came through with the donation. Thank you, man. The cheese is in the building. Appreciate you, bro. Always. Thank you, man. That would definitely clear up some of them birthday expenses that I got. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Yeah, I gotta do a video on Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. I've already started doing some film study on that because that's one I want to get out the way. And I'm definitely gonna do a video on Joshua Usyk soon. If not, if not this week, but I want to get it done this week because I'm already. I'm gonna do I don't know if I'm gonna give you an actual prediction though, because I'm still like unsure. But I know how the fight could go. I already have it in my mind how the fight could go and what both needs to do. All right. I think Clarissa Shields actually have the better technique. I think Savannah is just more versatile. You know, I think she's more unorthodox. You know, I think her angles and stuff, I think she can do more. But I think Clarissa is faster and sharper. Very good counterpuncher. I think Savannah's better at pressure. That's a tough fight, man. That's gonna be a tough fight. That's gonna be a good fight, though. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I just don't think it's gonna be dominant from either side, though. I've already heard a lot of people. I don't think anyone's getting stopped. I think it's gonna go a decision, but I think it could go either way. All right. Charles said he got Usyk by KO. He got Ukraine on his back. Well, what I will say is that I think for Joshua to win, he's gonna have to risk getting KO. And what I mean by that is he needs to be more aggressive this time around. You know what I'm saying? Oh, hold on. Yeah. Um, but I think Shields, the thing is, you know what I don't like? All right, so let's talk about this fight. You know what I don't like about the opinions of people when it comes to this fight? I think people need to understand that these you can't you can't base this fight on their resumes because I think it's pretty clear, right, that the both of them are their best opponent by far. It doesn't matter who Savannah's fought. It doesn't matter, like who's Clarissa's best win? Maybe Christina Hammer, right? Um, Christina Hammer's not better than Savannah Marshall. Even if she's more decorated as a pro, she's not better than Savannah Marshall. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just not. All right. And the rest of these girls that Savannah Marshall is none of them are nowhere near as good as Clarissa Shields. Clarissa's fought better people because she's been around a little longer as a pro. And, you know, when did Savannah start as a pro? All right. She started a little later. Clarissa kind of started fighting better people out the gate. But I don't think you can, like, when it comes to women's boxing, it's not that many people out there. And I feel like, and I've said this before in the videos, I feel like the elite female boxers are so much better. The top 2 or 3 in each division they're so much better than everybody else. They're so much better. Like, there's a gap between this. There's not many divisions where like the top 5 or 6 are really, really good. You know? And I know I'm not the female boxing expert. Like, Ring IQ is amazing with that. But I follow it good enough to know like who's there. Right? And I just feel like Savannah is definitely above anyone that Clarissa has fought. You know, just based on the eye test, she's just better, you know. And then Clarissa, you know, at the same time, like, Clarissa is way better than anyone that Savannah has fought. So when I watch Savannah, like when I'm doing field study and I like look at their fights and I'm like, man, like Savannah just dusts everybody off so easily without any pushback. You know, there's no one there with hand speed. There's no one there with the athleticism that's Clarissa. There's no one there that's countering her. It's just kind of like they all just get beat up. Some last longer than others. And then you got Clarissa, who, okay, I think has been more, you know, as far as like level opposition, I think she's been more consistent. But at the same time, none of them are better than Savannah Marshall. None of them had the power she has. I don't think any of them have. We just talking about technique. And even though I give it a slight edge to Clarissa, I still think that Savannah's technique is way better than everybody else that Clarissa fought. You know, it's like there's a huge gap in between the opposition who they both have faced and each other. You know, I mean, and you got to also remember too, I know that Savannah Marshall is a big puncher, you know, and they're fighting in the UK. Savannah Marshall is a huge puncher. We know that. But Clarissa Shields barely loses any rounds. Most of the scorecards is 100 to 90 every single time. So you got a woman that is very powerful. You got another one that is very fast and very skilled. They're both very skilled. It's just that they have 2 totally different styles. And I think it's very, very hard to predict because anything can happen. Can Savannah, her power, be too much for Clarissa? Possibly. But can Clarissa's speed and counterpunching and volume be a lot for Savannah? Yes. You know? You just got to wait and see. You got to wait and see. Mike G says Hammer skills may be a little better than Savannah. You know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I just went back and watched some of the highlights for that fight. And I think Savannah is better than Hammer. That's just my opinion. We can respectfully disagree. It's just my opinion. You know, I knew Clarissa was gonna be here. You know, I thought Hammer was a good boxer, but I just knew like it was no doubt in my mind. I have doubt here. But in that fight, there was no doubt in my mind that Clarissa was gonna outbox her without too much trouble. This fight here, I don't know. I'm completely 50-50. Completely. So I don't know. We might just see it different. Hammer is very good. But there's levels, and I think Savannah is better than me. I just think those two are two of the top tier boxers in the entire sport. Period. Savannah just looks better than me, man. I don't know. Hammer still looks a little stiff. Like she's a good boxer, but she's just comes off as a little stiff to me. She looked better when she fought other opponents, but when she was in the ring with Clarissa, she didn't look that good. Like when I remember watching that, like I remember when Hammer was her best opponent at the time, and I remember doing some film study on Hammer. I think when I was watching the other opponents, I felt like Hammer was definitely the best she fought. But when she was in the ring with Clarissa, she looked very stiff and looked very basic. And I think that has to do with Clarissa making her look that way. And this is why I said when it comes to picking this fight, you just never know. When somebody's a really good boxer and they're quick, I know Savannah has the power, but you just never know how they may look. And I know she beat her in the amateur, and that's cool. But that was also like 10 years ago. How long ago I think Clarissa was 17 years old in that fight. Amateur fights do count sometimes, but other times, a lot of these people improve dramatically. I don't think Ramirez is better than Shakur Stevenson at all. I think Ramirez is still very good. He beat him in the amateurs, and I told you guys recently. I went back and, did I go? No, I was just making a point that I don't think that was a dramatic robbery. I thought that was a really close amateur fight in the Olympics. I remember when Shakur was crying and all that. And I remember watching and I said, I know he's crying and everything, but that was a very close fight. That could go 2-1 in either way. Wait, which fight is more 50-50 for you? Clarissa versus Savannah or Taylor versus Serrano? That's a tough question. I think they're both equally 50-50. The only reason why I said that the Taylor versus Serrano fight was a bigger fight is because you have two proven top tier, top 3 pound for pound women fighting each other versus one, two. I don't know. On paper, Savannah didn't have nearly the accomplishments as like Taylor and Serrano did. So even though Savannah Marshall is very, very good, and I think just is 50-50, and I think she has a great chance of winning. She just doesn't have the professional. She's nearly as decorated as Taylor and Serrano was. Clarissa is, but not Savannah. But as far as if the fight goes, I think they're both equally 50-50 to me. I can't pick. They're 50-50. When I say something's 50-50, this is like 50-50. Yeah, Pito, I agree with you. I think Broner did lose to Santiago. But I think Omar Figueroa is not that good right now neither. And I think Santiago might be Omar Figueroa too. So it's a close fight. It could go either way. Yeah. I think Taylor and Serrano was going to be it's going to be hard to top that fight. It's going to be hard to top that fight as far as action, but you never know, because its styles mix up well, and you got similarities there. You got, like with Savannah, you had Serrano who had the power, right? The flat-footed, powerful fighter, where you had Taylor and Clarissa, who was more fast, like they're based on speed, all right, and movement. Clarissa is not that big of a mover, not as much of a mover as Taylor, but Clarissa is very, very fast at her weight. I didn't like Shields going to MMA. The reason why I didn't like her doing it in her prime, and I understand what she was trying to do because there's a lot of money over there with the women that fight in MMA. I think when you train for MMA, it changes you as a boxer. Or if you are a boxer that goes, or MMA fighter that goes over to boxing, I think you pick up habits that don't work well in the cage or in the ring. We are just seeing that with Conor McGregor right now. Conor McGregor is become, he fights in the cage like a boxer now, you know, and it's made him more limited, you know. Yeah, you know, he's just in love with just countering and, you know, the pull counters and stuff. Like, he did them well before, but he doesn't use his legs like the way he used to. You know, I just think that he's always had his flaws, but when he trained to fight Floyd and then he went back, he just fights like he's boxing too much. And I didn't think that was a good move for Clarissa, because I thought, you know, if you go to fight Savannah Marshall and it was already brewing, you know, and I said this before, you shouldn't be going to your best fight, you know, your most dangerous opponent coming off some MMA like fights. You know, I didn't like that. I said that before on the channel. I was a little bit concerned about it. I know she picked up a win recently. But you know, I thought that it was just, I didn't think it was a good idea for her to come back straight. Now, she picked up a couple wins, that's cool. But, you know, I think she should have waited a little bit more until after she was really like the top queen of the sport, maybe, you know. I think the Savannah Marshall fight, maybe after Savannah, like, you beat Savannah Marshall and you say, you know what? All right, I'm gonna do this MMA thing. But it hasn't seemed to really affect her, because I've seen her in the last couple of fights and she looked good. So it might not be an issue at all. Yeah, in the cage, she looks KRL. I see you. In the cage, she looks kind of limited, because, you know, she's just trying to let her hands go. And these fighters are smart and they know to take her down. You know, I wasn't really that impressed, but, you know, she tried, and I give her credit. She did win one fight. She lost the other one. But, you know, she tried it out. Luckily, she didn't get any really like major injuries or anything like that that might have affected her in the ring. You know? So, all right, guys. Yo, I'm gonna end it here, man. Got more content on the way. Again, thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. All right. Also, thank you for the donations, for anyone that dropped any donations tonight. And I will be back to do Ryan Garcia breakdown. Not sure I'm going to do commentary for Donnie Nietes and Ioka. All right. But if I can, I'll jump on. If you guys see me on, I'll let you know. I'm not guaranteeing that one. All right. If I can get up, I'll do it. But I won't be home. And I don't know how the Wi-Fi is, if you know where I'm staying. All right. So anyway, I'm out, man. Y'all have a good night. Make sure you smash the like button if you haven't already. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.